Hello and welcome back to another Tierspec TV video. Today we are on episode 2 of Project Bob. What are we doing today? Well, we found out driving it November when we got it that it had some problem starting and had some problem idling when it was cold, which is kind of normal for a Range Rover or the Rover V8. But after I've owned one for quite some years now, it's not normal for it. So what we're going to do, we're going to start from the bottom here and work our way down into the engine until we find the problem. Now when you have trouble idling and revving, it might be caused by the carburettors normally of the ignition system. But first we're going to take a look at the carburettors, the fuel system. We're going to take these off, the two of them. We're going to clean them and rebuild them and put them back on, and hopefully that would solve our problem. Let's do it. Yeah. So we just took the air filter off here, as you can see on the other side, and if you take your finger and run it through the inlet here, see completely black layers of, I don't know if it's oil or what it is, but it's definitely a problem because that's supposed to be completely clean.
3 centuries of dirt.
Yeah, I don't think these have ever been cleaned since it left the factory, so we might have found a problem already.
And of course, our next goal was to then remove the carburettor entirely, so we set about removing all of the tubes, hoses and whatnots to get at them, starting with the fuel lines. Some of the rubber hoses were so old that they had simply become hard and brittle, so it made more sense to just cut them off, rather than properly removing them.
Got another breather hose here. Oh wow, got a crack in it. I don't think it goes through it. No, it doesn't. Quite thick. But
we bagged up all of the parts so we know what goes where when we come to putting it back together.
There we go. That's the choke. So now that carburetor can go off, and then we just need this bit here, which we can actually just take that little thingamajig out, split, and then we leave the linkage as it is.
As we delved deeper and deeper into the engine bay, things got stiffer and fiddlier. Until eventually we reached a vital bolt that we simply couldn't access. At this point we decided to remove the entire intake manifold so we could actually remove these carbs. This meant removing a few more connections, starting with the radiator.
Stuck solid in there. Might be the result of a bit of a leak there. It's all corroded up.
There's always one.
Yeah. It's right next to the water feed. The reason why this one is so rusty, as I said, because the water feed runs in there into the cylinders, right down there, goes in here into there. See how close it is to breaking.
We then removed the rocker covers so we could see what was going on inside this engine after all these years.
seen better days.
A lot of rust on that. That is probably because it's been standing still quite some time. This top bit here started rusting a bit. Same as this bit. This is worst. But that was just the heat shields. Not that big of a deal. We do also have quite a lot of water in here on this side, which is normally a blown gasket. Blown head gasket. I've got a lot of dust here. I think if we change the gaskets, then it should actually be a lot better.
It's quite on the other side as well.
Yeah, I see. This engine needed this service. So we need to get a new one of these gaskets here. These valley gaskets. Make sure they're tight. Because I don't know where the water has come from. If it's a head gasket, then we need to take the top off. Which is a big job to do. Or if it's just getting water from here into the engine. But let's see.
I'm up at the pressure washer because I am going to clean these rocker covers and the intake manifold here. So as you can probably tell, I've just cleaned the intake manifold and the rocker covers, and there's a huge improvement. I mean, they're not factory fresh, but considering they were basically black when I started, it's not bad at all. But anyway, it's time to get back to the workshop and get on with the rest of it. I should take a bit of the dirt off that one. Snag it in. This one. Spring. Normally it says like how much you need to put in, but we haven't got time for that. So what we've got here is an ultrasonic cleaner, which is made for, well, pretty much everything. You can clean everything you want to get clean. And what we're using it for now is engine parts, more specifically the carburetor on it. We put some of this engine parts cleaner in it. Normal water, you heat it up, the machine does it. What it then does, it vibrates, which breaks all the dirt away from the parts and make them spotlessly clean. I've tried it out and it works pretty damn well. So what we could do now, while the ultrasonic behind me finishes what it is doing, magic, we're gonna put back the rocker covers here. We got some brand new gaskets. Different on them. Like these ones are probably the original ones, which got cork in them, so they made seals back then. What we got now is some very thick rubber ones that will never ever let any water come through, because as you can see, there's clearly got water through it here. Trying to rust on these rocker cover plates. So we need to clean the edge and the rocker covers, pump these on, and we should be in business. lot cleaner than before.
Just a bit. With the carburettors cleaned by the ultrasonic machine, we set about getting any remaining dirt off and rebuilding them.
I'm not supposed to read the instruction manual.
So what we got here is the rebuilding kit for the carburetors. We got one of them completely disassembled and the other one is still intact, so we can kind of go back and look at that one if we mess up at some point. I think all the parts we need are here, except the one part are these new rods for the valves, which we need to use the old ones as well, because these ones are made with some kind of hot start on the end bit, which our one doesn't have. But they're not too used. You can still rub your nail across it and you can't feel it, but they should be in the clear. But now it's just a question about putting it all back together and crossing your fingers that it works.
The rocket covers are now back on, looking absolutely fabulous, or at least a million times better than they were before. But they were a bit of a pain to get back on because we put new seals as well on, and just lining up the holes and everything is just an absolute pain in the arse. But yeah, they're looking good. So Nis is putting the carburettors back together, and then it's just a matter of putting it all back on here. One down, one to go. While Nissa rebuilt the second carburettor, I cleaned up the intake manifold so it would be ready to go back together. With that done, we could finally start putting things back where they belong.
working? Something?
We did a thing!
We did a thing! Hooray!
Holy crap, it actually. I can't say we were actually expecting that outcome.
No.
Like, you spend like 2 days rebuilding an engine, you don't actually expect it to work. After 2 or 3 days of work, the carburettors are finally done. We've rebuilt them and cleaned them, as well
New
as
seals.
Yeah, and there's the intake manifold as well, completely rebuilt and cleaned. And it seems to have made a difference, he said.
Yes. I'm very surprised it actually worked that fast. You know, like no adjusting or anything. You just turn the key and it fired up.
I'm not going to complain about that.
No, meaning.
So that seems to be that for now. That is like the first full-on bit of Project Bob for now.
Job.
Yeah, the first major job. So I don't know what comes next. But that is the end of this episode for now. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon.
Coming soon to Project Bob.